Artificial intelligence is maybe even more dangerous than DEI. And yeah, it's possible. We're going to talk about it a little bit. An absolute clown, as usual. Ro Khanna picks a fight with, once again, the wrong guy. What an embarrassment. And don't feed the quokkas. I'll explain that coming up. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show and the most important news of the morning. It's Friday. Oh, yeah, Friday's here. We love it. The work week, one more day to get through, and then the weekend is upon us. So enjoy it. Make it go fast. I hope you're having a great morning. I am doing just great. We got a lot going on, and we're going to get right into it right now, as a matter of fact. When the workplace AI is as dangerous as look, y'all know we hate DEI around here. It's the most ridiculous thing that ever happened, sadly. And a lot of crap has been made about the whole DEI destructive capabilities and how horrible it is for literally everything it touches, but especially whether it's public or private in the workplace, especially in the workplace, which is where it affects most people. Promotions, positions that are not based on merit, not based on experience, how long you've been with the company, none of that matters. Tear it up, throw it in the garbage. Totally unqualified for a job, and yet nevertheless, you have been handed the reins. And what happens? Abso-freaking-lutely disaster is what happens because you're not qualified. You got it because of your gender or your race. Now, that said, while DEI has been discussed to ad infinitum and completely discredited, we all know what an absolute crock of shit DEI is. A new twist on this DEI trick. You haven't even seen this, I'm sure, but it has crept itself into the workplace almost completely unnoticed. Namely, we're talking about slanted artificial intelligence. The important word there being slanted. Slanted meaning AI, which is based on the assumption, which is not different from that fuels DEI. Not AI, not nearly as mysterious as some people make it out to be. If you've ever played around with it, with Grok or ChatGPT, it's kind of fun to work with. I use it quite often. I use Grok all the time. I don't like the other ones. Grok is fantastic. But it's basically the accumulation of pretty much all of human knowledge and materials, scientific, artistic, all rolled into one big database. And then you send it prompts, and then it goes out and searches for all the different connections for things of which you're asking, and then it gives you an answer. It summarizes. Modern day equivalent of school kids from days gone by going through an encyclopedia, calculating how much rewording they're going to have to do to hopefully fool the teacher into thinking that they made any kind of effort towards actually writing a paper. They didn't. They stole it from the Encyclopedia Britannica, if you know what I mean. Well, the main issues with AI are now, in addition to establishing extreme laziness, if you're going to use AI properly, it takes a lot. It takes an education. You need to be trained in how exactly to word, because how you word things with AI, very, very critical. It's a lot easier to type in a couple of questions and just claim their Chat GPT's response as your own words. Writing, research, you didn't do any of it. You just asked AI a question, and it gave you the answer. But you got to remember this phrase. I'm sure you know it, you've heard it 1,000 times. Garbage in, garbage out. One little bad bit of information shouldn't, at least in theory, corrupt a whole examination of any particular subject. It's just one little piece. Enough bad information, though, is going to spoil the whole soup. And make it even worse is how easy it is to hide bad data deliberately introduced, which is meant to provide you with false results. Oh, yeah. Witnesses in recent times how the deliberate obscuring of COVID's origins, the immediate rush to push untested vaccines rather than the treatment of the actual illness. And that led, of course, to millions of deaths, breakdown of society, destruction. And, to this day, 2026, June, we still have not fully recovered. That's how bad that was. And the assumption that a machine measured generalization somehow has to be better than hands on experience by people who've devoted themselves for their lifetimes to living a task, directly learning from their experience. And because they use this knowledge in helping to assist in all of our betterment, you just give AI a couple data points and a prompt or two, and you get a term paper. In terms of today's business world, where the mantra is, when in doubt, do it cheap, and never mind how doing that loses dollars rather, while saving actual pennies. There is more and more an increased standardized test for employment that have been created not to measure your actual knowledge or your experience, but rather just how closely that someone's self-evaluation matches the averages based on who knows what match the proclaimed standard established by someone whose work and whose life experience doesn't extend past the search field on Google's homepage, if you know what I mean. An especially horrendous example of this is suddenly informing an established workforce that 201, they need to reapply for their jobs that they are already demonstrably doing very, very well, to see if they meet the AI standard. People who've been sitting behind a desk or screwing a wrench for years, decades in some cases, being forced to take some sort of ridiculous, dumbass test to make sure they meet an AI standard. Apparently, the expression, the proof is in the pudding, never ever has been absorbed by anyone's water and power guzzling data center. Aside from the rather unfunny but laughable all the same nature of self-evaluations designed to not gather any authentic data actually, but rather just play an extended game of gotcha, the damage done to morale when employees who previously been doing this job, and in many cases, like I said, doing it really, really well, and then suddenly they get reassigned to some lesser task, corresponding cuts in pay, status. You can't overstate this, folks. It's happening. Key members of a team get sent to the bench without cause. the whole team suffers. You know that. Lawrence Peter, he is passed away now, but he was a social commentator, became known as Peter Principle. You've heard of the Peter Principle. In hierarchy, each employee tends to rise to his or her level of incompetence. And a lot can be said exactly like that for AI personnel sifting. The goal, supposedly, of uniformity and testing for excellence across an organization is hideous, faceless, soulless monstrosity has instead actively been absolutely crushing what makes this country great. Our spirit, the human spirit. That's what's gotten us where we are, for the most part. Completely disregards any kind of human endeavor in favor of this bullshit pop psychology blather, a complete lack of any kind of knowledge of what goes on in the workplace. Couldn't tell the difference between a cash register, a cow catcher, or a corner office, let alone the personnel who might be best qualified to use that property. Oh, but they've got AI trained to be able to sort you out and stick you in your little boxes. And I don't care that you've been doing this job and doing it exceedingly well for the last 18, 19, 20, 25 years. Doesn't matter. If AI says you belong over there, you're going over there. And that is the scary part of AI, which is, for all intents, as bad, if not worse, than DEI. Unbelievable. Good morning, Maryland. Be blessed. Sorry, my lips stopped moving for a moment. Good to have you along, Maryland. All right, what else we got on? Oh, Ro Khanna. Why don't you just go home? Please? Absolute clown. And this moron has now picked a fight with the wrong guy during a House Select Committee on China. You can pretty safely say that just about every Democrat in the House and Senate is obnoxious to some degree. I mean, come on. But if you got to rank, say, the top most obnoxious, the one that would easily, without even thinking about it, make the list of top 5, Ro Khanna. From, of course, California. There are a lot of reasons why, but the one big one stems from his absolute idiotic defense of Maine Democrat Senate nominee Graham Plattner against allegations of physical abuse, control behavior from a former girlfriend, proclaiming that voters should believe his accusers and not attack them, but that they should believe Plattner because the man who reportedly explicitly sexted up to a dozen women after he was married in November 2023, well, Rose says apparently he's redeemed himself. Make it make sense, please. With that in mind, there was a hearing held yesterday by the House Senate Select Committee on China, and the topic under discussion was, quote, China's economic espionage and subnational influence in the United States. That was the name of the topic. One of the Republican witnesses, State Armor founder and CEO Michael Lucci, was there to share his thoughts on, among other things, the dangers of birth tourism as it relates to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Got some pregnant Chinese lady, member of the Communist Party. Ship her over here, let her give birth to the baby, push out the puppy here on our soil, and boom, you got another Chinese American citizen whose mom is a member of the CCP. How nice. Ro Khanna is the ranking member on this committee, and when it was his turn to question Lucci, he predictably trotted out the old race card, which he loves to do, digging up tweets on Lucci, pretending that the one below made him a anti-Chinese racist. Here is the tweet. Michael Lucci wrote, "Two Chinese Americans accused of attempted bombings at MacDill Air Force Base gained U.S. citizen via birthright. They are not loyal to the USA. There are 1.5 million more Chinese Americans essentially born in Saipan and raised in communist China. Denaturalize them all." Abso-freaking-lutely. Do it now. One of the problems with Ro Khanna's accusation, as Lucci pointed out, was that not only is he married to a Chinese woman, but his 4 children are half Chinese, and his in-laws are both Chinese. So he wrote, Ro Khanna massively embarrassed himself today. Instead of discussing policy, he accused me of anti-Chinese racism. My wife is Chinese. My 4 children are half Chinese. What is Ro Khanna? 100% clown. And further expanding the thoughts on this, Lucci said what he said to Khanna during the hearing in an absolutely blistering tweet. He said, Ro Khanna owes the American people an apology. I've testified in 20 state capitals across the country. I've never seen a lawmaker embarrass himself like Ro Khanna did today. He's the leader of the most important committee for countering the Chinese Communist Party, and instead deals in nothing but substance and policy. He pulls out the race card and most self-embarrassing ways today while peddling ridiculous conspiracy theories. This goes on and on and on, but he just nails the guy to the wall. Any day when Ro Khanna's arguments can get so thoroughly demolished, sorry folks, that's a great day. That's a very great day. And Thursday, yesterday, was a great day. Abso-freaking-lutely. We covered this one when it first broke, and now it's come to a conclusion. And it is the best possible conclusion, other than the maybe that it had never even happened in the first place. But thank God for people like Dr. Kurt Moore. You may not remember that name, but chances are very good you will remember this case. The charges have been dropped against Dr. Kurt Moore, who, in my humble opinion, is an absolute hero. During the pandemic, he handed out vaccines cards and administered shots, the clot shot, but it was nothing but saline solution instead of the deadly COVID vaccine. He said, I just did the right thing. I can't give informed consent to people when you don't know what they're being injected with. This is a huge victory for all of us. Dr. Moore saved countless lives by using saline solution instead of the deadly COVID vaccine, nothing more than a biological weapon. He is a veteran. He is a doctor. and he is an absolute hero.
You go in here. What are your thoughts about right now that you're seeing all this?
Um, just seeing people I haven't seen in years come over and stand with us and support. It's unbelievable.
So when you, this is why you did it, right? Because you love the people you that are here.
I just, I did what was right. You know, I didn't have anybody in mind except for just doing what was right. So it wasn't for me, it wasn't for Elena, it wasn't for kids, it wasn't for anybody, it was just doing what's right.
Awesome. God bless. We're with you.
I just did what's right. Congratulations, Dr. Kirk Moore, on having all those charges dropped, as they should have been. No, they should never have been charged in the first place. But at least here we are today. Charges dropped. Very, very good news. All right. How about a little sip? How about a big sip of Blackout coffee? Oh, yeah. Blackout coffee is, I know you hear it all the time, but please trust me on this one. They are just simply the best coffee on the planet. It's a small American company that has their small batch roasting process. They grow these beans working with local co-ops and American farmers. Local co-ops and American farmers. These are not imported from anywhere. They're grown right here in the U.S. at the right altitude, the right soil, just the right time. They only pick the top 80 and above percent grade beans on a 100-point scale. So these are premium coffee beans. And then they only roast them after you place your order. You go over to the link in our description for Blackout Coffee, and you check through, find out what kind of roast you want, or maybe a flavored coffee, and then you put in your order. As soon as that order goes in and is paid for, then only they roast your beans, which means they're fresh roasted, which makes all the difference. They ship them out within 24 to 48 hours, and if you don't have the ability to grind your own whole beans, on most of their most popular roasts, you can have them ground for you. Absolutely. There's a little pull-down menu that says whole beans or ground, so you have that option. They've got unbelievable flavored coffees, which I wasn't a fan. I'm a fan now because they're absolutely delicious. Instant, cold brew, coffee pods. They do that too, of course. Check them out. Put an order in. Try a single bag. And I promise you'll be back. Always full flavored, bold coffee taste, but never ever bitter. John Santos and the gang has got something real special going on over there. And we love working with this company. Blackout Coffee, best coffee on the planet, hands down. Try it. You will be amazed. Use that link down there in our description. All right. Did you know these World Cup fans across America? It's been absolutely amazing. And the stories continue. A Scottish World Cup fan is hanging out with Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. And he gives haters a master class in how to be civil. It's amazing. We've been hearing a lot about Freddie from Germany. We've been getting world-class tour of the U.S. and all the amazing blessings of our liberty we have here in America. It has been very instructive to get these Europeans and their insights on just how fortunate we are to live here. I hope that is landing with a lot of people who need it, and how to be an engaged participant in what makes this country so fantastic. Other European World Cuppers bounced around the country, reveling in the spotlight of their TikTok and X posts, get invitations from everyone from country stars to cable news hosts to governors. Yep, like Scotland native Sean. Sean left his mark on Boston for Scotland's World Cup matches against Haiti and Morocco, and he and his tartan army headed to Miami for Scotland's match against Brazil. Well, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis been following Sean's World Cup exploits, and he extended an invitation for him to break a Cubano sandwich and watch the game together. Oh, man. Have you ever had a Cubano sandwich? Obviously, it's from Cuba. I lived in Key West for 5 years, and Key West has a huge Cuban population. So things like this, I forget this is a pounded thin steak with lime and oh man, that is so good. I forget the name of it, steak something, and Cubano sandwiches to die for. And anyway, forget that. DeSantis invites this guy to come break a Cubano with him and enjoy the game together. Sean jumped at the invitation, met up with the governor, like any good governor promoting his state. Ron DeSantis posted about it. Do we have? Yeah, here we go. Here's the post. Check that out. There he is, Sean and Governor DeSantis. Glad to see the Tartan Army Group enjoying the free state of Florida. A lot of the responses positive, congratulatory, typical of the left, though, of course. People had to bitch and complain because that's what they do. They downed a gallon of haterade and felt the need to regurgitate it. Get this one from, who is this hag? Lisette, crafty feminist, bisky social. How nice. Bissette, shut up and sit down. We don't care. But I'm going to read your ex post anyway because you're an idiot and I want to expose exactly how stupid you are. This is truly disappointing, Sean. I've been following you for years. This is a man who is the epitome of everything you're against. Well, Sean not only quote posted DeSantis's post, but without any intention of doing so, he gave a perfect lesson on what civil discourse looks like. Here's what he wrote on X when he reposted Governor DeSantis's picture that I just showed you. He wrote, I came to America to be curious, open-minded, and also to be a good public ambassador for my country. When Governor Ron DeSantis asked me to go eat some local food and watch Scotland versus Brazil in Miami, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do exactly that. Good on you. Says this is absolutely not a political statement from me. I come here with an open heart, and I'm extremely grateful to everyone who I've had the privilege of speaking to while on this trip. Man, does that say it. Sean's unbridled joy, his childlike curiosity, gratitude, all born of this desire of his to be an ambassador of goodwill, which represents Scotland and represents it well. He also strikes me as somebody who's the life of the party, no matter what the situation is, and those kind of people always seem to make the world a better place. And Sean's key point is that it has nothing to do with politics. Being open to new experiences, different viewpoints, is enlightening. Go, Sean. How many people on the left, and frankly on the right too, would be a hell of a lot better off if that were the lens, Sean's lens, from which they viewed everybody. Once again, majority of the comments on this post congratulatory, positive. Some even expressed envy that Sean got to hang out with the governor in the free state of Florida. Fantastic. Good on you, Sean and the Tartan Army. Love you guys. Keep it real. He is certainly doing that. He is certainly doing that. All right. Here's one for you. Killer quotes from Justice Alito on his takedown of Hawaii's illegal gun control law. Oh, Manischewitz. The best quotes from Justice Alito's majority opinion on Wolford versus Lopez. He has been having quite a year, good old Justice Alito, after authorizing a major decision, pretty much nuking race-based redistricting a few months ago. The senior justice just released a new ruling which protects Americans' Second Amendment rights, as they should be, writing for the 6-3 majority. In Wolford versus Lopez, Alito and his fellow conservative justices found Hawaii's law, which restricted concealed carry permit holders from carrying handguns on private property. Oh, man. The majority more specifically determined that this was called the vampire rule, unlawfully burdening Americans' Second and 14th Amendment rights. Like a lot of his opinions, Alito's Wolford decision contained everything one would expect from a very strong originalist jurist. From its reliance on the Constitution's text and the history to the overall practicality, here's the best lines from the court's ruling. Hawaii's restriction imposes a new burden on permit holders by forcing them to acquire permission from the property owner or manager before entering the premises. Moron. The Constitution? Well, might surprise some of you, but it applies to all of us. The Bush appointee completely underscored that Hawaii's history of antipathy to residents owning firearms is irrelevant because the Constitution applies equally across every single state. You got it? Alito also highlighted how carrying firearms in public is a long-standing American tradition. Go Justice A. And Hawaii's historic analogs don't work. Alito detailed how Hawaii's reliance on founding-era gun restrictions to defend its unconstitutional law doesn't pass the smell test. Sorry. And black codes are a no-go. He also blasted Hawaii for relying on Civil War-era law, which is called Black Code, aimed at restricting freed Black Americans' Second Amendment rights to defend its concealed carry restrictions. Insane, these people in Hawaii. What the hell is the matter with you? Anyway, the decision's been made. Hawaii, you're screwed. Happy to hear it. Bye-bye. Morons. Absolute morons. Some great news out of the FBI. If you missed it, 7,200 children rescued. Thousands of predators locked up behind bars. Hey, Grandpa Muskrat, good to see you again. Am I a musician? I am a musician, but I'm not anymore. I did not make a living as a musician except for a little tiny year or so where I played at a piano bar with Cindy Martorell. She sang, I played, and sang a little bit too. But I do play. I play a ton of instruments, and I'm not bragging. I was born with. I didn't learn how. I just was born with an ability to pretty much pick up anything and be able to pick out a tune on it. So, I have to compete with AI in my songwriting, he says. This is Grandpa Muskrat. While AI is doing art and music, I'm listening. You're covering a lot of ground. Going outside for a smoke. Well, welcome back when you get here. All right, Grandpa Muskrat, good to have you on board. Okay, where are we? Oh, here we are. Federal Bureau of Investigation released a retro crime film style video which celebrates the milestones in fighting child exploitation and predation. There is a narrator who sounds like Philip Marlowe or Sam Spade describing about a 50% increase in total victims over the previous admin and more than 100% increase in arrests of child predators and traffickers. With the FBI leading the charge, the hunters are now the hunted, and families are finally protected. I'm hesitating to play this because it's got music under it, and I'm probably going to get a hit, but I don't care. I'll play it anyway. Don't forget, by the way, under the Biden admin, our federal government lost track of about 400,000 children, and mostly on purpose. Democrats deliberately placing kids with traffickers or potential predators, trying to speed up the illegal alien child pipeline into this country. On top of that, Democrats habitually enforce very soft on crime policies, domestic predators, sex criminals. This new administration is having none of that, and they are doing everything they can to clean this shit up, as it should be. And just note that the FBI could not achieve these kind of numbers without the work of local and even international partners. The FBI relies on these local partners to do these investigations, execute these warrants. So a huge thank you. We are proud of you to not just the FBI, but all the local agencies down below them who work tirelessly, and in some cases very much putting their life on the line, rescuing and locating and rescuing over 7,200 victims. That is crazy. Where is the, now I don't see the link to it. Okay. I was going to play it, but I don't see the link anymore. They must have taken it out of the story. Check it out if you want. I'm sure you'll see it. Kash Patel, the FBI, in their announcement. It's very, very well done. Very well done. I do not, under any circumstances, feed the caucus. No, I'm not kidding. These are dangerous, life-threatening caucus. They will tear you apart, and when they're done, they will tear your whole family apart. They are, as you know, of course, from Australia, because that's where these evil things grow. There's a saying about Australia's animals, something about most of them are just there to kill you. And it's true. And so finally this morning, there is a sign on the side of the road that says, "Do not feed the caucus." And you would be well advised to follow that advice. I am going to show you this video now, but be prepared. Be prepared. This is an evil, evil creature. Watch. Look at this guy. What is that? That is an Australian quokkas. They are not dangerous. They have an absolutely adorable smile. And they will do everything they can to convince you that you need to feed them. Apparently, they don't want you feeding them. But how could you possibly resist that face? That's the quokkas. All right. We are just a little bit early, but it's a Friday. We're always leaving early on a Friday, right? I know you do it too. Admit it. Come on. Thank you, my friends, for popping by. Really do appreciate having you here. Really do. Big thanks to Grandpa Muskrat, too, joining us over there on YouTube and all those other folks who are checking in. We appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday with another edition, 9 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and Rumble, both places. Please, if you haven't, hit the subscribe on YouTube or the follow button on Rumble. We've got a place where you can make a donation to help keep the show live and keep the lights on. It's the very top one in our description. Pull that menu down, and you'll see our PayPal link there. You can donate whatever you feel you can afford. We appreciate it. Every bit helps. And, of course, all of our sponsors, Ground News, Blackout Coffee, Patriot Mobile, they're all there, too. Give you some great deals on products you need and you will love. Enjoy the weekend, spend it with someone you love, and I will see you all right back here on Monday.